On January 20th, 1982, it was a dark and stormy night when 19-year-old Lisa Au was last seen alive. Lisa had been working as a hairdresser at the Susan Beers salon in Kailua. She had told coworkers of her plans to visit her boyfriend, Doug Holmes, at his sister's apartment in Waikiki. At 9:45 p.m., Lisa left work to meet up with Doug. Along the way, she stopped to pick up some poke and snacks for the night. Doug and Lisa met up as planned, but the two didn't spend too much time together. They both departed at approximately 12:20 a.m. Doug was headed for his dorm room at the University of Hawaii, and Lisa was headed home. Unfortunately, she would never make it home. In the morning, Lisa's parents were concerned that she had never made it home. They called Doug, who volunteered to help find Lisa. During his search, Doug located Lisa's car parked on the side of the highway in Maunawili. The car appeared to be abandoned. The driver's side window was rolled halfway down. There was also 2 to 3 inches of water inside the vehicle, soaking the seats. Lisa's purse was located on the passenger seat of the vehicle, but unlike everything else in the vehicle, her purse was dry and looked untouched from the rain. Lisa's driver's license was the only item missing. Responding officers would find it curious that Doug's face had notable scratches. But police were more concerned on finding Lisa, so the search began. Flyers were distributed, and the island began a desperate search. On January 31st, 1982, just 10 days after the search began, Lisa's body was discovered in a ravine near Tantalus Drive. The area was mountainous and wooded with no streetlights. She had been stripped of her clothing. By the time Lisa was found, there was very little forensic evidence left. Lisa's body also had accelerated decomposition that made it difficult for the medical examiner to determine a cause of death. The investigation moved from the Honolulu Police Department's Missing Persons Unit to homicide. And the homicide detectives had a theory on who could have committed this heinous crime. One of their own. A theory emerged that a police officer was on the loose committing crimes and murders. After all, Lisa's driver's side window was rolled down halfway, and her driver's license was missing, as if she had been pulled over while driving. These details convinced police that there was a killer cop on the loose. Once the public became aware of a killer cop theory, a woman came forward with reports of being assaulted by a man in an unmarked police car. Police focused in on a possible suspect who also had a sexual harassment complaint against him. Detectives believed they found the killer and took the case to the grand jury. Shockingly, the grand jury failed to indict the officer. After the failed indictment, police were unable to move the investigation forward. Lisa's family grew increasingly frustrated with the lack of results from the police. Lisa's family decided to hire ex-homicide lieutenant Burke Cornell as a private detective. Burke was in charge of Lisa's case when it was first turned over to the homicide unit. Burke decided to start his investigation from the beginning and ordered Lisa's body exhumed to be re-examined in Los Angeles. It was discovered that Lisa's body had not been properly cared for or washed prior to her burial. Lisa was still in the original body bag full of leaves and dirt, which advanced her decomposition. Due to the state of Lisa's body, the new autopsy could not pinpoint a cause of death. Burke was also able to locate Lisa's temporary driver's license that was theorized to have been taken by the killer. He determined that Lisa had left it behind while signing a check for the food she purchased on the night she disappeared. Burke was also able to locate and interview witnesses that were originally overlooked by the police. A security guard at the Makiki apartments where Doug's sister resided remembers the night that Lisa was last seen alive. A security guard heard a couple arguing around 11 p.m. and witnessed Lisa leaving. A short time later, the guard saw Doug leave. Lisa's boyfriend Doug, who was once ruled out as a suspect, now emerged as a plausible suspect as more evidence was uncovered. Not only was Doug the last person to see Lisa alive, but he had also located Lisa's vehicle shortly after she was reported missing. Doug had failed 2 different lie detector tests, but said the reason he failed was that he felt guilty for not driving Lisa home on the night that she disappeared. This was an excuse the police believed was reasonable. There was also a witness named Charlotte Kamaka who was delivering newspapers in the early morning hours on the day Lisa went missing. She had witnessed a man driving a blue car. The car had a woman in the passenger seat who appeared to be asleep or unconscious. This was in the same general area where Lisa's body was found. Although she had called police after Lisa's body had been located, police did not contact her and her story could not be verified. No charges have ever been filed on Doug, and he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. A closer look at the original investigation showed that the police did not have as solid of a case in their killer cop theory as they had led the public to believe. Years later, lead detective Nelson Lum admitted that there was no evidence of a police officer committing the murder. In fact, it was even discovered that another officer was approached to lie to the grand jury but had refused. It seemed like the police were chasing a dead end in their rush to solve Lisa's case. Unfortunately, the mistakes made during the initial investigation would cripple any future attempts at solving the crime. Those involved with Lisa Au's case remain hopeful that one day her killer will be charged. But as time passes, it is likely that Lisa's case will continue to remain unsolved.